Ndugu ya Uganda, Uganda ndugu ya Tanzania, Nyerere alisema kuamini.
Most people associate the fall of Idi Amin on 11th April 1979 with the formation of the government that replaced him. In this episode, we look at Mwalimu Nyerere's influence and interests that finally determined the composition and leadership of the Uganda government in exile at the time. 48 years after the fall of Idi Amin's regime, New Vision TV brings you the second part of how the next government was formed on foreign soil, with the infighting among exilees in Moshi and the intrigue in Dar es Salaam. Professor Talsis Kawejere was the convener of the meeting of exilees in the northern Tanzanian town of Moshi. He recalls how the whole thing got off to a rocky start among the politicians, while the combatants, like 33-year-old Yoweri Museveni, tried to impress upon them the urgency of reaching a consensus.
You know, after you opened the meeting and addressed them, and with these people raising point of order, point of information, and so on, I said, let's have a conference chairman. That's when we elected Nyanzi.
Kaweje is quick to admit that the Moshi conference was not about democracy.
It was not a representative, if you want. It was not a democratic meeting where you... No. It was an emergency meeting, and that's why it was a front, and it was supposed to open ground for the future of Uganda. And I'm glad that since then we have made significant steps in ensuring that we have a Uganda that we can be proud of.
From his Dar es Salaam base, ex-President Milton Obote had taken it for granted from his friendship with President Nyerere that he would automatically become the leader after the fall of Amin. He was therefore angered by the idea of the Moshi conference to bring together Ugandans and try to kill it before it took off. But the other Ugandans were determined to play part in shaping Uganda's future after Amin, and using their contacts in Tanzania, they prevailed and the meeting took off with Obote not as a delegate, though he was well represented by his supporters, including his party vice president, Paulo Muwanga, who was later to organize the December 1980 elections that ended in Obote's favor.
When we started thinking of the conference, Obote sent the late Adoniat Perondo to ask me, why? Who are you? Why are you doing this? What is all this?
What, the convener?
Yes, as convener. In fact, I can tell you this, as external examiner in the University of Dar es Salaam, that March, I was supposed to have been there, but I was stopped from going there, which means Obote had tried to get me not to have to access, but Mwalimu and his intelligence knew what we were doing, and we were in touch anyway also, because we had people there like Omaria, like the late Tekere Jaru, who knew also the inside of a man like Kitini, who was the director of intelligence. We were also in touch, you know. So being acceptable is history. The meeting took place anyway. And I'm glad I was associated with it in the way I was.
When the Moshi meeting got underway, President Nyerere delegated his foreign minister then, Benjamin Mkapa, to oversee the process. Satisfied that the Ugandan exilees were on the right track, Mkapa then declared to the Ugandans that they were now cleared to form the government of Uganda in exile. Mwalimu Nyerere was conscious of the deep resentment Ugandans in the central region, where Kampala, capital city, is found, harbored against his friend Milton Obote. So he communicated his suggested candidate, a Muganda he had known from academic circles and was then working for the Commonwealth in Africa, Professor Yusuf Chironde Lule. Although most delegates found Lule acceptable because he was not associated with active sectarian political groupings, two men, Paulo Mwanga and Martin Alika, also insisted on standing. Mwanga and Alika were roundly rejected, and Lule was unanimously selected as president of Uganda weeks before Amin was overthrown. With the new president identified, the Ugandan exilees then formed different commissions under the Ugandan National Liberation Front, and they moved to Dar es Salaam, where, working directly with President Nyerere, they finalized the new government. Moshi Conference convener Professor Tausis Kawejere became Minister of Lands. Paulo Mwanga was chairman of the Military Commission, while the 33-year-old Yoweri Museveni became Minister of Defense. Soon after the fall of Kampala City, Yusuf Lule flew into Uganda to take office. He was aged 68 years and ruled for 68 days.